Hi, I'm here to talk to you about human attention for an AI augmented world. Why I chose this topic, which is a rather belletristic topic, is not very technical at the first sight. It's because we all stay heads down and we build our models, our lines of codes, but at the end of the day, we forget of the reason why we build that code and what's the toll, what's the commodity we trade for using that specific line of code. And the most traded commodity nowadays is human attention. So no matter what AI sub-technology you'd be consuming in the end product you are using, either if you're using Netflix to watch a movie, or if you're using your Google Assistant to ask the Google Assistant something, anything, you are trading your human attention. So this is the reason why I chose this topic for today. Who am I? So I'm Alexandra Petruş. I do a couple of things. They all revolve around product strategy and using AI in human-centered experiences. I head the product divisions at a Swiss startup that does deep tech technologies. We build 3D eye tracking technologies where you use computer vision, machine learning, and deep learning. I'm also a co-founder of Bucharest AI, which is a community of AI practitioners. We are around 2.2K, around 2,000 members in Bucharest. And we're also part of a global community. I'm also a Google developer expert for product strategy. And I recently received a one-year term with World Economic Forum to help build the AI strategy for Russia. Not for Romania, unfortunately, but I'm going to Brussels next week to actually start some initiatives in building a strategy for Romania as well. So that should be exciting. Those are my handles, so if you want to reach out to me with any questions or anything, just reach out. I'm pretty loyal to answer any queries that may come my way. The four main applied pillars that I'm going to touch base on today are the voice applications. All these four applied use cases of AI are the ones that we trade human attention the most. We trade with voice application, audio and video, automotive application, and retail application. Right. Why is human attention a metric? Let me just play something in the background. I'm not sure I can hear it. Let's give it a go. Doesn't work? No, it doesn't work. Okay. Anyway, it was a sound of, multiple voices in the background that were trading their attention for the use of applications, either Twitter, Facebook, or any voice-grabbing application that's quite sensitive in using your attention to consume it in a not always a healthy way for you. So, of course, all these applications, they have so much information to give, and you are giving the human attention as a metric for them. And this is the only metric that they trade in order to grow their product. And a data ethicist at Google, he's not with Google anymore, he said that it takes 9 months to grow attention. So this is the cycle to grow attention for any product, 9 months. That's actually growing a human person inside you, so that's a full 9 months cycle. And another metric to think about is that about every 30 seconds we switch out our attention. So I'm looking at you now, but I won't look any more than, I don't know, any extra 30 seconds. Then I switch my attention to something else. So this is the time span that you have in order to grab the end user attention. So the algorithms actually have these metrics implemented, hardcore implemented, so they can keep track of them and consider them in the end results. Voice applications, which is the first applied use case. And of course, you have the Google Assistant, which is, has anyone used actions on Google or build something with Google? Yeah? How hard was it for you to build something with the actions on Google?
I misunderstood the question.
Okay. So, the Google Assistant has a very easy to use platform to build hard code information that you can ask your assistant to render it. So for example, DevFest Bucharest, we've built, with actions for Google, we built the information that if someone, the end user, was asking, tell me about DevFest Bucharest, it will offer him some information, like it will offer the many tracks we had there, or the room division, or the speakers lineup. So you can actually code the information. You can add extra search web visibility by voice. And the way to do it is with actions by Google, which is a very simplistic line of code. If you know JavaScript already or something, if you've studied at least HTML, it should be quite simplistic. Right, so this is some statistics just to give you a hint of why voice applications are the new trend. So from end of 2018 to end of 2020, it's expected that from 18% to 16% it will grow to 60%. That's quite the rise up, so you can understand why we all start building for voice and why everyone talks about voice-first applications. Because people have little time to give to extra activities, and we try to use voice more and more. And because we all have a voice assistant in our home, let's see, how many of you have a voice assistant? Okay, but think about it. You don't have smartphones because only one person raised the hand. You all have voice assistants in your pockets. So I think everyone should raise their hand, not only one person. Probably you have the Google Home Pod or whatever, the Alexa.
I have 3 actually.
Yeah, we all, yeah, okay. But you all have, this is the thing with the AI. We all go to talks, advanced talks, but we don't realize that we are already consuming AI products. You all have voice assistants in your pockets. The assistant in your phone is already a voice assistant that you can build with actions by Google. You can build information already into it. So the AI is not that complicated, at least the AI of today. The metric for voice assistant, because when you're developing applications, I think you need to ensure that what you build is growing, and you need to have metrics that you measure. And the metric that you measure for voice application is word error rate. You need to ensure that the word error rate decreases. You don't have a high percentage of word error rate. That's the formula. You have substitutes, deletions, insertions divided by words in the reference. Because if the algorithm cannot understand what someone says, then that's an issue, because the use case of your application is not served. So this is the metric you actually monitor. And this is the actions on Google that I've been mentioning. That's the path you go. It's quite simplistic. They have very easy to use templates already, and documentation that if you follow it, it should be not pretty simple, but it should be accessible for anyone to use it. Of course, you need to have a bit of some knowledge about coding. Let's see about the coding knowledge. How many of you have ever trained an AI model? Okay. You're from Bucharest, right? Yeah. I've seen you around, yeah. Okay. Please. Yeah, so the idea was that no matter what you do, no matter what technology you'd be using, my direction was always consider metrics. The metrics that I mentioned earlier, word error rate, indeed is a more statistical term, but it's a metric that you don't need technical knowledge to monitor it. Anyone in a technical company would ask you, is our product delivering what we want? What do we want? We want our users to use our product more and more. But how do we do that? Well, we first need to talk with them, because this is what the assistants do. Well, do we understand them? I mean, can we talk to them? Well, we can't talk to them because the word error rate is, I don't know, 90%. So we don't understand much of what they say. Okay, let's understand first what they say. So where I'm headed is like, no matter what you do, you need to understand the problem and then to come with an answer. and try to monitor that. But yes, it's close to statistics. So if you ever done statistics, that's a closer way to get to data science. But data science, not necessarily machine learning engineer. That's another story. Right, so this is what our colleague from Bucharest, Valerica, did. So she actually used actions on Google and she built this nice little voice experience for Bucharest DevFest. And you were able to ask, and now if you ask the Google Assistant, hey Google, talk to Bucharest DevFest, the assistant will answer back to you with the information she's put in. So you can build that for your business, for your NGO, even for your school. If you have an event, you can promote it this way. I think it's a very nice touch experience. Let's see if this works, because otherwise I'm going to have to tell you about it. Yeah. Okay. So this is a very nice applied way of using 3D modeling and voice synthesis to deliver a message that we need to stop malaria. So they've actually filmed David Beckham talking in English, and then they filmed 9 other persons talking in other foreign languages. They built a 3D model from David Beckham's face, and then they added up the other foreign language on top of his face. With a 3D model, they made his face gesture look very familiar and tried to match the new foreign languages expressions. And at the end, the result was a David Beckham that was speaking in Chinese, that was speaking in French, in German, and many other languages to deliver the message that we need to stop malaria. I think this is a very strong way to actually use technology and not focus on what, the line of code directly, but focus on the end result. The problem was to spread a message about malaria and that we need to stop it in this age, not for our children, but now. And they've used technology to do that. So where I'm heading is like, we need to think more at the problem and at the end result and how everything wraps up, rather than, okay, I have this little line of code, I don't have a large data set, I cannot train my data. Just go over that, just look at the problem. So it's very nice. It's Synthesia that did this. So they use a 3D modeling, computer vision, and then they did a voice synthesis to apply the other voices. Audio video, because we are in a audio first era, but it's also video first. We have Netflix, podcasts, and audiobooks. Let's see, how many of you are watching Netflix? Come on, yeah, you didn't have Siri in your pocket or Google Assistant, but you're all watching Netflix. Thank God, Netflix is the most consumed end product that uses the most technology to trade our human attention with. So you're trading your human attention quite a lot with Netflix. They use AI, machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, everything. They use it for post-production, but also for pre-production and for personalization. So, for example, I don't know, he might receive some content specific to his person, but he will receive a different content even though if they are in the same room. The bit rate is different. They use, again, AI technologies to adjust everything. They do the personalization, even for content. I'm not sure if you saw this, but depending on the content you're watching, everything changes, including the colors, which is quite interesting. And they use it also for optimization, including location scouting. So this is why in your schedule of programs you have seen Romanian movies with the Bucharest location, just because you're from Bucharest. So everything is used. And this is how it looks for a person that's a comedy fan and for a person that's a romance fan. It's the same movie, but they use a recommender system, which is part of the supervised machine learning, and they trained it with your specific data, and this is the result. A comedy fan will have someone laughing or smiling or giving him a goodwill feeling, and the romance fan will have someone, of course, that gives him the feeling of romance. And Netflix does amazing things. I think, technologically speaking, I've been looking at the how they do transactions per second. I was building a blockchain app, I think 2 years ago, and because we all try to take inspiration from someone. So the company I took inspiration from was, of course, Netflix, because they do millions of transactions per second. It doesn't need to be by transaction. I don't necessarily refer to that it needs to transact money. I mean, even the fact that millions of viewers are at the same time, it's a transaction per se. Right. Now, automotive applications. It's another way, or another applied way, where we trade our human attention. We have driver monitoring systems already being used in applications. You have a factory here in Craiova, I'm not mistaken, Ford factory. Okay, we have another one for Renault in Bucharest, where they develop quite advanced systems where they use AI for Renault cars. Well, currently we use 3D eye tracking in cabin monitoring. And for example, we are using it for fatigue or for watching where your eyes look so that the car could react depending on how you move. Now, imagine combining eye tracking with the speech technology. The future is not that far, and the car of the future is a car that will learn everything about us. It's something that's already being prototyped, especially in Germany, because of course they have a strong automotive industry. And it's something that, for example, we at eyewear, the company I serve with, we are already prototyping with the automotive players in the market, and this is something that is going to pop on the market for the end consumer very soon. Now, let's think about it, how we interface it. So this is how it works. You map the eyes where the person looks. And these are the technologies, I'm not sure if you can actually see in the back. These are the technologies that we actually use to do all this. So it's quite a lot of decisional points in the journey, because you have computer vision that actually decides what's inside an image or inside a video. You have the machine learning, which is the actual system that gets to be trained and gets exposed to data sets. And then you have the deep learning, which is the many-layered neural networks. You have little neurons that will work together and get trained together. It's a much more advanced AI technology. So you already have 3 AI sub-technologies used to deliver a single solution. So you already have 3 teams working on something totally different. So we need to think at the end result. And in all these 3 technologies, you have decision points. And these decision points, if something goes wrong, I wonder who is responsible. But I'm going to get there soon. Another application where we trade our attention is retail application. Has anyone visited China? No. Okay. Well, in China, they already have experiential retail, where you just go like IKEA, you go inside and you can sleep on the bed, or if you like the bed, you can order it and take it home with you. It's something that happens quite a lot, and retail has started to count quite a lot on marketing. And in order to make this a very successful business, you need to use technologies. The most used technology is, of course, the most hot one, the hottest one, which is AI. This is what happens when, this is a real image, it's not a futuristic image, so this is what happens in the world. When we use eye tracking combined to machine learning and recommender systems, you are able to tell, how the person stands. You have body stimulus, skeleton stimulus. You are able to tell how they interact, if they made eye contact or not. And this is something that can be built easily, in the sense that we have already the technology to build this. And that's Advertima's approach to doing retail personalization. Now, of course, I think there's a lot of millennials in the room, so there is a statistic saying that 72% of millennials would rather opt for experiences than purchasing products. Do you agree with that or not? Would you rather consume experiences or would you rather consume products?
60% experience, 40%.
Okay. Okay, so you'd opt more for the experience as well. Okay, so I think this is what everyone does. They take this information and they use it to offer you the experience by not telling you to purchase a product, but playing with your attention to really want to purchase the product. It's the same thing that, I don't know, when you marry someone, for example, you won't tell your husband, go wash the dishes. You would want him to wash the dishes. So you make a nice experience for him to be in the situation where he wants to wash the dishes. Exactly. So that's quite interesting because consumers do want experiences as not products. So the eye tracking offers you personalization and experimentation. And practically what we do is the fact that we match the difference between the fact that the purchaser, the shoppers will say, I'll purchase that product tomorrow, I don't know, but we don't count on that, and we actually make them purchase the product now by not considering their words and action, but by using their attention. Because you might say one thing, but your attention or your body or everything will say something different. For example, you might be in this room now, but you might not want to necessarily be here. And from your body and from your eyes and attention, I would be able to tell how many in the room are really, paying attention or wanting to be in this room and so on and so forth. Thank God I'm not having the camera with me because I have a software where I can tell. So yeah, I didn't bring it. Okay. Right. So I'm coming back to all these applied use cases. I've been mentioning automotive, I've been mentioning retail, voice, everything. What happens if someone presses the wrong button or types in the wrong line of code, or there's an abuse or a hacking in your system? The next step that comes very naturally is the governance step. The fact that we need to be able to audit our algorithms, no matter how black box they look. Because there's an AI black box matter issue saying that, okay, I as a company or I as a developer, I'm coding this, I'm using, I don't know, something I've found on GitHub and I'm putting it in my code and I have a nice end result where I don't know, I use natural language processing and I do an application that works with words and that's it. But what happens if there's a mistake in your code, or what happens if at a certain point in time you want to go back and stop a certain task? We need to be able to do that. So this is what everyone is looking to build now. And here is a hierarchy of needs of the AI world currently. This is built by me, it's not taken from anywhere. So if you don't agree with it, just say it and let's debate it. So I took the Maslow hierarchy of needs, which we use from the 60s, I believe, 1960s, and I tried to apply all the AI categories and information we currently have. So at the bottom, the very bottom, the mandatory thing we need to have, the psychological needs, which are the data sets and people. Without people and data, you can't really do much. The next layer will be the models and algorithm, because that's the safety needs. You need someone to use that and take it further. Then you have the love and belonging, which is explainable AI. This is why the XI means explainable AI, which is the model of being able to trust, understand, and manage the artificial intelligence partners, because soon. We need to have some reports we can extract with the conclusion that a model, of the decision that a model takes. Because, for example, in our case, at iWare, for example, we use computer vision, machine learning, and deep learning. There's not only three, there are many decisional points. So at any point in time, I need to be able to go in there and extract a report and understand why the model took a certain decision, why it did not take a certain decision, or what are the risks, or how will the future be with my model. Then we have the esteemed sentient AI, where the AI has feelings, and the upper layer, the ultimate one, is child AI, is the self-actualization, which is happening because at the end of 2017, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar, the Google Brain team actually built the AutoML, which is able to to give birth to small little AI modules. So we already have this. So this is the AI's hierarchy of needs of today. Of tomorrow, it will look something different, but this is of today's. I mean, this year's we are developing for. Explainable AI. I want to reinforce the explainable AI because it's something that the US Defense Advanced Research Project Agency is working on. They started working on at the end of 2016, and they plan to end it in the end of 2021. And they work in building explainable models that we are able to reuse even for consumer applications, where we are able to understand why the model or why the certain model we used took a certain decision, why it did not take that decision, when it succeeded, when it failed, and when to trust it, and why it errored. Of course, they are working now in building an explanation interface and an explainable model. Explainable AI is actually at the intersection between machine learning, the AI subtechnology, the human-computer interface, and of course the end user, the experience. This might be a bit, advanced because I started from the conclusion that you might already know about machine learning and you might have already trained a few models already. So yeah, and hence the question now: how are you training your model? But I think I understood that you're not training models, and you're more like probably AI enthusiasts that are working in the field and are trying to find out more about the technology or how to use it for your use cases. Let's hear a bit about someone in the audience. I'm really curious. Maybe you know more.
I hate that.
Okay.
I think these days AI is abused.
Well, we trade our human attention, yeah.
Including image processing. I mean, for eye tracking, you can do image processing, and I tell you where you look, just
absolutely
analyzing the image.
Yeah. And in China, it's enforced by the government, so you cannot opt it out.
Yeah,
and we never know when it will happen, for example, to be enforced in other countries. This is why we need to be aware of it.
I'm pretty sure you don't need machine learning just to tell you that I'm looking at you right now.
Absolutely, but imagine that, for example, I might be looking at 1 million people at the same time. Or imagine using AI in the airports. You want to know at the same time where everyone is looking or how everyone is feeling.
Yeah, it could be
so you can
more efficient using machine learning to tell you that in a large picture how many people are looking in some direction.
Absolutely, even for retail, I'll use your attention to sell you something, absolutely. But in the end of the world, we are all working for something or to, get to certain conclusions. We are not, I think AI passed the line where it's used only in research and development centers. I think now we are at the stage where AI becomes mainstream and gets to be used in consumer applications more and more. And it's something that you already consume, but you're not aware of it. Because in your pocket, you already consume quite a lot of algorithms, even in the application you used.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. It might come intrusive for us. Anyone else? How do you feel about AI or its way it consumes your attention or the information you have?
I have a question.
Please.
It's a bit weird, the question. I have to say it from the start. So.
Nothing is weird. We're all weird. Yeah.
I'm thinking of, okay, I get the permission, like the GDPR, that any, let's say...
Unfortunately, we don't have GDPR for AI, which is something that we definitely need. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm giving the store the permission to use my facial expressions or anything in relation to that.
Yeah.
But I suppose at some point, I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
Or I don't know, this is why I asked this.
In Europe, you can do something about it. In North America.
If I So if I refuse
Yeah.
at some point, I no longer want to give that information regarding myself,
Yeah.
the machine will be able to unlearn what I don't want to show anymore.
You can delete some information from the system, but the idea how it's currently used in the retail sector is that they consume the information in real time. You train the model with a data set that you have, of course, but when it's used in the exact shop, it's used with real-time data. So currently it doesn't remember your information, it's just in and out. But in the near future, I would expect to remember it because this is how we can get better and better. And in the future as well, I would expect there will be a GDPR-like government rule applied to AI. So next week, I'm mentioning I'm going to Brussels. We're discussing about an AI strategy for Romania and for Europe as well. And one topic of the discussion is as well how we can apply more governance to the AI world. Because now that it went from research labs to actually being consumed by user and actually talking about AI with users that are not machine learning experts, we need to have that explainable interface where everyone will be able to tell why the machine got to a certain decision, but we also need, to opt out if we want to opt out. We don't have something in place now. You can, of course, delete information from the data set if you request it. In Europe, with the GDPR, yeah, it's better now, but
I'm just guessing in China what's there.
You cannot opt out. No, you cannot opt out. I've been traveling often to China. My husband travels as well with business. You cannot opt out. It's a government rule. If they stop you on the street to ask for your phone to look at your data, you need to mandatorily give it. It's in their constitution. It's by law. They consume the information. They have pilot projects that they deploy in certain cities with 1 or 2 million population just to improve their algorithms. So this is why China is the first AI power, because the AI is controlled by the government. It's not private. It's not like in Europe or America where you need to ask for permission. You need to ensure that if you use facial recognition algorithms, you blur the faces or anything like that. In China, no. It's like we have your data. Actually, the people are split 50-50, being pro and against this. Pro saying that it actually protects them from, people that will want to harm them or something like that. But there's also a 50% of people saying that they don't want their identity being used that way and being used for being trained or being watched all the time. They even have social scores. Sorry for talking so much about China, just that it's amazing what's happening now. They have a social score and they have a credit debit score. For example, on a distance of 500 meters, if I open that app, I would be able to see who has debts in the distance I'm with, and I would be able to tell, for example, oh, I'm not spending time with you because you are in depth so much, so I'm spending time with this person because he's not in depth. So this is an interesting orchestration of spending our social lives. It's already that's happening in production in real life, and it's not science fictional movie. They have all sorts of application. The social scores, they use the social score. They are people that are banned from flying just because they have a lower social score. So of course I wouldn't want to be banned from traveling with my son, for example, for vacation just because I have a lower social score. So yeah, it's a huge cultural difference. If you ever have the chance to travel to China, just travel for the technological experience. Okay, guys, thank you so much for it. Please.
What do you mean by lower social score?
For example, if you go to the shop and you buy beer instead of baby diapers, you might receive a lower score than a higher score because they want to encourage having babies, not drinking beer. So that you receive a lower score, of course. So imagine all of us that go to the shop to buy drinks. It's like we receive lower scores. I mean, you shouldn't be orchestrated to live the life they want or the life someone imposes it to you. Or, I don't know. This is my personal opinion. I don't know.
I think this will make the gap deeper and deeper between social classes.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine even that app that you are able to check the depth in 500-meter distance. I would opt to spend time with someone that's in depth.
Yeah.
Or I would spend the time just for curiosity. Oh, how would the in-depth person look like? Or tell me. Yeah, it's awkward.
Talking about regulation, how do you see the possibility to opt out of real-time tracking? How could you opt out of real-time tracking?
You don't enter the shop. No, you'd have a filter so that, for example, it bans your face. There are already solutions that blur the faces or don't show the people in pictures or real-time videos. So what you see, there's a Black Mirror movie when the person, you can actually do that.
But that means that your face is already in the system for them to know that you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It's
It's how GDPR works as well. You don't delete the entire data. You just delete the connections between data. But the data, part of the data remains in the system, yes.
I think you should make a distinction between artificial intelligence and machine learning, because
machine learning is a sub-technology of AI technology. AI itself, or at least to my understanding, has 12 sub-technologies. Machine learning is just one of them.
Yes, but fully.
Please prove me wrong if different.
Theoretical AI is able to improve itself so much that it's supposed to solve even human scientific, like singularity, for example. What we have right now is just machine learning, which is like environment.
There is no AI like that.
You're talking about the sentient AI, the one that can.
Yes, it doesn't exist any.
No, absolutely. We refer to AI, or it doesn't exist at commercial level. We refer to AI, all the technologies we use, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, speech recognition, natural language processing, natural language generation. We need to label all these technologies into a category. So we refer to them as AI technologies.
It should be called virtual intelligence because it's close to an environment.
The one that builds itself and the one that has feelings and the one that...
No, the one that's right now. It's not like a real AI.
It's automation mostly,
Yeah.
but for example, the deep learning, the one that has the one that uses neural networks and neurons to connect the information between them and is able to create new connections and to be trained. That's a bit more an advanced machine learning.
Yeah, but this is why a single machine learning cannot work on all case scenarios, and this is why it's not artificial.
Machine learning, it's a model. It's not a robot itself.
Yes. So
Machine learning, it's a model you apply, you expose it to information, to data sets, and that gets trained. You input A, you get to train what outputs B, and that's it. It's just outputs, inputs and outputs.
yes.
It's not something that it's sentient or... Yeah.
But many are starting to think that it is. Like it can suddenly do everything, and this is a very.
Yeah, this is what happens when marketing people try to cover news about machine learning or AI in general. They need to sell their information, and this is what they do. But yeah, again, I would like to debate it, but no, it's not. It's just input and output, of course. But don't read all the information on the news. Try to filter it. It's like the fake news. Don't try to stop at one news. Just go to read more sources.
And this stops progress because people can be afraid of something that doesn't exist just because it's.
It doesn't stop progress. No. You should study, and once you study, then you realize what it is.
Yeah, but most don't study. Most are just afraid of it.
Yeah, I cannot pronounce myself about the educational system.
No, it's like in general. They hear this. AI suddenly sees who you are, tracks you everywhere, knows what you eat, knows what you buy, but it's never the
But you
same.
can do that without
Yeah, exactly. We've been doing that with conditional formatting for quite a lot.
Yes.
A recommender system,
Yes.
they are being used only recently. Then, before recommender system, it was conditional formatting. So,
Yes, exactly.
if this and that.
It's just another method of doing that, but for people it's like suddenly something new, some kind of sentience that follows them everywhere. And
It's just because this is how we metaphorically wrap it up. But imagine, 10 years ago when we were doing if this and that, I was able to play it almost in the same way. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't be that afraid, no, I wouldn't be that afraid. I would focus on studying it, of course, and then you'd realize it's just mathematics. The AI we currently have today, to my point of view, is just rough mathematics.
Yes, if more people understood that, they wouldn't be so...
I think the Eastern European people understand it more because we have strong background of mathematics. I think at least my parents were crazy about, learn mathematics. I don't care about the other information, just learning from mathematics. I think it should happen the same way, but also try to be exposed and curate your information. I'm not sure what to say. It's just that we don't have that type of AI that you see in Terminator or anything. No, those are movies. I really want to not have those type of conversations. I will always opt out of such conversations.
I'm just afraid that people will start to vote for politicians that are against AI, but they don't know what AI is about.
Let's not go into politics. Thank you so much.
I mean, it's easy to put a boogeyman label to everything. Remember that 100 years ago, when electricity was invented, the same happened.
Yes.
Everybody said that electrical current is some kind of black magic, and that makes it like...
Technology scares people, indeed. Yeah,
So
but
it's not like that.
It's not
Yeah.
only technology that scares people.
Yeah.
Everything that's new.
everything, yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.